Alright guys, so we're back. It's 2 days later, 1 day later, I don't know. We're dismantling this engine. As you know, I live in Missouri in the Midwest. It could be 0 one day and 80 the next. Luckily today it's like 73 outside and sunny. So it'll be a great opportunity to push it out the door a little bit, keep my floor clean, and we went ahead and disassembled. We don't have everything here yet, but we have enough to do the block. So we took the intake off. We took the valve cover off. The valve cover looks good. The gasket was brand new. And then here's our engine. Just a tad bit of gravy, as I call it, from the PCV. That's perfectly normal. Other than that, it's been sitting for a little bit. The lobes are a little bit rusty. Has normal wear on all the cam lobes. So I guess we're gonna do. The plan is we're gonna take the torque wrench. I'm gonna go ahead and check all the head bolts, make sure I'm stripped. I figured they could hold 50 pounds. The torque works out to be like 55 to 60. Put 45 or 50 on the torque wrench. If they all click, we're gonna call that good. I'm gonna go ahead and rebuild this Vanos. I couldn't remember in the black car if we rebuilt it or not. I went back and tried to figure it out, and I couldn't figure it out. So that's not a problem. Discarded this guy yet, but everything else came right off. Everything looks fine. I did notice on the E60s they did change the coolant pipes under here. So that's all good. There's two of them, one on each side. You gotta turn the engine over to check them. Those are never the ones that strip out. The ones that strip out are always on this back passenger side. It seems like that's always the case. We checked all of them except for two. You gotta turn the cams. Which one was it? You can't get to that one. You can't get to this one, I think. So that's good news. That checks out. Hey, gasket looks factory. We'll have to figure out what's going on with that water line. There's a bolt in there like the line goes into it. I'm guessing that's some kind of plug. But it feels like it goes all the way through. No, it's got a bottom to it. Okay, good deal. So that'll allow us to remove this big Y hose. That'll let us put our two single hose on there, which is what we need for E39. Yeah. And the other one go there and then right there. So that's great. I took the intake off. I blew it all off. I do see there's one little acorn right there. So you need to flip it. I'm gonna put the valve cover back on it. We'll put 4 or 5 bolts in it because we're not done yet. We're gonna do the Vanos and stuff where we can permanently mount that back on. And we'll definitely put some sealer on the valve cover gaskets. They did not. And we all know what'll happen if you don't do that. So yeah, I guess let's put that back together. Let's flip it over and let's see what's in the oil pan. Okay. Oil pan come off real easy. Like I said, we got a new gasket for that. We're going to change that. You can see where it has been leaking past the seal. Yeah, I kind of wonder if we shouldn't do a little bit of the right stuff gasket sealer on that. It seems like that's a very common problem. I don't know. I'll look it up and see if anybody else is doing that or not. Everything looks pretty clean. Everything looks really good. There's nothing stuck in the pickup. Everything looks good as far as that goes. As far as the oil pan goes, they are identical. This one, if you can see that or not, it's probably in the shadow. When we just took off this engine, it has a couple little, no, that's actually just rough casting. That's actually made onto that. So What we're gonna do here, while I have the doors open, everything's outside, I'll get a little bit of gasoline, we'll pour it in there, get our brush for the parts washer, kind of clean it up a little bit inside and out. Well, I like to put it back on tonight, but if I use gas on it, I can't do that. I don't know, we'll see. And must be M5 pickup, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's like I wrote that on there in junkyard markings, junkyard marker for some reason. Everything looks really good. I don't know if I ought to pull off the windage tray, and I can pretty much see everything to the cracks, and the crankshaft, there's nowhere it looks black on it. Everything looks good. It's a piece of plastic. That's weird. Better in metal, I guess. Anyhow, yeah. So it looks like she's a winner. And get that thing cleaned up. We'll be right back. Okay, so we just took brake parts cleaner. We cleaned this gasket surface. I didn't clean outside the gasket sealing surface. I mean, for, you know, whatever. If you wanted it clean, the whole thing has to come apart. It has to get hot tanked. We're not going for that. Google does say to use a little bit of gasket sealer right in each corner, right where the rear main housing meets the gasket, which we're not going to do the housing. We're just going to do the rear main only. We need to make sure that's right too before we get too far. Then on the front here, where the front timing chain case meets, you can see you got a little right stuff under that, just to seal those cracks. And we had this guy here cleaned up. I didn't use gas on it because I know if I did that, I tried to put it on this engine tonight and put it inside, we'd be back smelling like gas again. We don't really want that. So I cleaned it up the inside out with a rag and some brake clean. It looks okay. I mean, there's nothing in it, no contamination. That's what we're going for. I cleaned the back up a little bit, so in case we have any new leaks, we know. This thing's probably gonna have to go to the car wash and get pressure washed the subframe after the engine's in it, and try to degrease a lot of this stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and drop this back on here. We're gonna torque all these to 7 foot-pounds. I won't use a torque wrench, but that's the foot-pounds in case you guys are wondering. And I guess we'll put the pan back on, flip it right side up. We'll pull it back in here. Might go ahead and flip it up and probably go ahead and do the oil filter housing gasket while we're here, while we're outside. And yeah, that's it. So we'll be back here in just a minute. Okay, so got the pan back on. Literally, it's 5 minutes. And how I do it, you guys do it however you want. I'll start them all by finger. I'll just run them down with that little impact until it clicks once, and then I'll come back with a ratchet and I'll choke up on the ratchet like so. A 1/4 inch drive is better, but you hold it like this. If you hold it way back here on the handle, you're gonna hog it down and snap them off. But you just do it by feel. You can kind of tell where it should be. After you've done this for a while, you kind of tell where it should be. And all we done here is just go and zip off oil filter housing. You can see that gasket's just like super flat, super flat. So we have a brand new one here, and we're gonna go and reinstall that. It is kind of greasy back there. I'm not really sure what to do about that without having a huge freaking stink in the shop. But that might be something we could do later on at the car wash, and clean that up. So for right now, we're just gonna clean that mating surface up, clean this one up with a rag and some brake parts cleaner. We're gonna take a little pick, we're gonna pry that gasket out. We're just gonna put this one in it. It's just super, super, super easy stuff. And you can see it has been leaking in the past. That's what all the gravy is around there. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. Right now it's just hanging by that high pressure line, and that's fine. Okay, so what we have running here, we got the Y pipe off, like in orderly fashion. Then always breaks off if any of these pipes, you know, breaks the whole piece off of the end. Yeesh. So it broke off in here behind the oil filter housing where it goes in the timing cover. Usually, where the hell did I put it at? Put half the stuff up and I go to make the video of it, and I don't know where anything's at. Usually use this guy. This is a Harbor Freight hook, has a T-handle on it. Usually you can just pull it right out. Oh no, this one was like super stuck. I was struggling like a fool because I forgot that I bought that slide hammer, but the blind hole puller came with this too big, so I just put one of the jaws on it and it hooked right in there. The first pull, it just popped it right out. Popped it out clean. So here's a piece that was stuck in there. You can see it has the double O-rings on it and all that business, and it just turns like to a cardboard. This isn't too rotten. This wouldn't have blown out yet, but usually you get to where you could just crumble them in your hand. They're easier to get out. So if this would have broke off in the car, you would have had issues. Here's the plug that went in, and you can see it's starting to erode on the end of it. This plug went in to the head right there where usually the coolant pipe plugs in. And so since this car uses the double pipe, and I got to replace one of the O-rings is rolled over on this like I showed you in the last video. So let's see, how was it here? This one goes in the back of the timing chain housing, and it goes on. Hopefully this engine still has the right holes and everything in it. What was the deal? It bolted on there somewhere. And then this other one is the one that went up to the head. So if you have E46 or E39, you're gonna have this guy, and that goes in like that. And it looks like it might have lost our, no, the holes there, okay. I think the other hole for this one's on the engine mount itself, which we'll have to reinstall those for the E39 because they're totally different for the E60. So I'm gonna have to, I'll loosen this Vanos oil feed line, which I might as well take a loose up here because I take it off anyway to rebuild the Vanos. And yeah, so we're trolling right along. I'll show you, I've showed you guys how to do this in the past. Let's see if I can pull that out of there. But there's always an O-ring that goes around the dipstick. And a lot of times you guys think the oil pan gasket will be leaking. A lot of times it's this. And this O-ring will have a tendency to leak, like when you go around a corner, it'll just start pouring out that. Or just froth oil everywhere where you can't tell what's what. That one's still soft. Obviously we're not going to reuse that because we're not stupid. I'll throw that in the bin there. And that's it. So we're going right along. So I think what we're going to do at this point, I'm going to go and install the engine mount on this side. I know I can't do that because it has the damn, we got to take that off anyway to get it out of the car. I think we'll just go and wait to put the hard lines on until the engine's in the car. That's probably the best move here. Okay, so a few things I missed. Trying to trip over myself here. Real quick, because I know you guys are going to ask. The bolts for the oil filter housing. There's, just to show you, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think that was it. No, there's 6. There's 4 at the bottom and 2 here. And that takes that loose. Those are torqued at 15 foot-pounds. There again, I didn't use a torque wrench. I very well could have. I know how kind of things are supposed to be. As a rule of thumb, for steel bolts, all the 13 millimeter head bolts are usually 15 foot-pounds. All the 10s are 7 foot-pounds. So there is that. A few other things here I didn't show you. I pulled out the Dissa. The Dissa was glued in. Holy cow, look at the freaking glue on that baby. But it is good. So I think what I'm going to do for it, I'll order a new O-ring for it. Those are kind of a bitch to scrape out. Scrape all that shit off of there. Crap over there, my bad. Crap, YouTube. Don't demonetize me. I said crap. Anyhow, these are particular for the 3.0 only. So these are quite expensive. Also, another thing, the engine. You guys heard me say I bought it for $500. This came from Orthodox Auto Company, and they're in Philly. Oh, the same place the E60 came from. Apparently not the same person at all, if you know what I mean. Anyway, they're in Philly. They hooked us up on the engine. They didn't sponsor the video. If I would have called and asked them, they probably would have. But it was only $500. We knocked that out. No problem. I'm happy to give for $500. That was shipped and everything. 123 or 129,000 miles on it. And by the looks of it, it's probably true. It's pretty good shape. I'm really happy with it. If we do another engine swap or need a transmission, I'll definitely call them first. So, and in other news, all the parts we use, I don't know what the hell I even do with the, what do I even do with it? I'm making you guys sick. All the parts we use today are all Victor Ryan stuff. So, the oil pan gasket, the oil filter housing gasket, our rear main seal is all Victor Ryan's. I'll put links for that in the Amazon store in the description. I'll just put the links right at the top of the description. How about that? So if you guys are needing... There's a spider web. What the hell? There's a spider living in the corner of my window. We'll fix his ass. If you guys are needing any of that stuff, click the link in the description. It sends a few bucks our way, keeps everything moving. And one last thing, there's so much going on. The wheels for this car. I found some 19s. They are 72mm bore. This car is 74mm bore. They do make adapter kit, which would also space them correctly. We'll bring them from 35mm to about 22mm, 25mm. That's perfect for E39. They were like 570 bucks for all four. Those are 19. I could either get them squared, which means they're not staggered, or I get them staggered. So 9.5 in rear, 8.5 in front. The ones that were squared were a little bit cheaper. They were like 518. Last night I had a $100 eBay coupon, and I couldn't sort. I had to leave here. I couldn't sort out fast enough what the offset and what the center bore problems were. And the spacers are only like 50 bucks or the adapters. So that's not that big of a deal. They are all hub centric. That will work no problem. So I might do that. It's Thanksgiving Day. There might be some more coupons coming on eBay. I don't know. My friend Kevin, they don't come through on my phone for some reason. Kevin's watching for me. And I don't want to say you guys watch for me because 10,000 people email me the same code. I don't want to do that. We'll sort that. I was waiting for Discount Tire Direct to have their annual special today, which is buy 3 get 1 free on tires, but they didn't have it. They only had 10% off. So we'll figure out the system on the eBay thing. I have an account, Kevin has an account. If we could buy tires on one with the promo code and wheels on the other, we'll save 200 bucks. Just trying to keep the budget down on this as much as I can, because the car is not worth as much as we're going to put in it. I think the car is worth $3,500. It'd be hard to get for it. We're gonna have some beautiful wheels. We're gonna do the headlight restoration kit. I bought that yesterday too, the Good McGuire's one. A lot going on. This car is gonna be a beautiful, reliable car. I just don't want to have $10,000 in it. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.